Guys, I just got done purchasing a $1.9 million commercial real estate property in Arkansas using digital real estate money. And I want to talk about a couple things with this deal, how I got it, why I did it, why I diversified away a little bit from digital real estate and to kind of have you understand that. And also just to remind everybody that you're closer to these type of things than you think you are. So at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, for those of you that don't know my story, I had $60,000 in debt. I was making just enough to pay for my house, a couple cars. I had kids. I had 3 kids at the time, still have 3 kids, a wife, all these different things. And I was in this spot where it wasn't even about like, can I go and invest? It was like, how do I just get the debt paid off? And I remember waking up every single day, and it's like, even if I make an extra 1,000 this month, it's gonna take a long time to just chip away at that 60K. And I remember just being overwhelmed. And so any of you guys that are in that situation, you're probably not in that bad of a situation. Maybe you're in a worse situation. Guys, you're closer to being out of it than you think, okay? And for the record, this is not my first commercial deal. It is my largest commercial deal. But about a year ago, we purchased another commercial property where I actually have my team, my actual lead generation company we work out of, and I have the other offices rented out, and then I have a salon upstairs in a second property. So this isn't my first property. I want to talk about a couple things though. Is number one, as I said, you are closer than you think. If you are one vehicle away, meaning one business model away, and a couple of good months away from changing everything. I've had months where I've been able to pre-sell $10,000 in new business per month. $10,000 times 12, that's $120,000 of revenue, gross revenue that I've closed in 1 month using the process that I teach in doing lead generation. Okay. I had a month last year in August, and I did $24,000 a month in new business in one single month. Times that by 12. I don't even want to do the math. I don't know what it is. It's like 300 grand. Okay. I don't even know if I'm close on that. Maybe I'm off. Okay. You are closer than you think. If you would have told me at the beginning of 2020 that in a couple of short years, you would own a couple of commercial properties, you'd be making X amount from cash flow, you'd have this, you'd have this, you'd have these vacations, and you would have this situation, have this much cash. And not only would I not have believed you, but I would have been pissed off that you would make me even think that that's possible. Like, that's where I was at. Okay. So number one is just, you are closer than you think. So take a deep breath. You can get there faster than you think, and you're closer than you think, okay? But the other thing I want to talk about is why, I'm sure people are going to say, well, if digital, in fact, I've already had somebody do this. If digital real estate is so good, why would you buy physical real estate, okay? And it's a valid question. Well, there's things that commercial and not even commercial, residential, but physical real estate, there's advantages that those properties have that you don't have with digital. And there's advantages with digital that you don't have with physical. So obviously we know all the advantages of digital. It's easy to get into. It's very low cost. You can scale it, all these different factors. It's recurring, blah, 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 blah. It's simple, right? Here's why this is my game plan, okay, is I'm going to continue to stack as many digital real estate properties as I can to continue to make as much cash as I possibly can, okay? And I'm going to try and be as smart as possible, but I'm still not that smart. I bought some dumb stuff, and I want to enjoy a little bit. But I'm going to be as smart as possible, and I'm going to take as much of that cash as possible. I'm going to keep putting it back into digital, keep building the digital, because that's the golden goose, right? But then I want to take the excess cash and I want to dump it into physical real estate as well for a couple reasons. Number one is I want to diversify a bit. I want to have multiple different streams of income. I don't know, you never know what's going to happen. And I want to have income coming from physical and digital. Okay. So I want the diversification factor, and I have some commercial. I'm probably going to get some residential and maybe some within that and some Airbnb and whatever. I'm really excited about commercial. Because they're bigger deals, and it means I can get to a higher net worth quicker. That's my goal. But the other thing about the real estate, the physical, is you have a lot of advantages with taxes. Okay. Not only are you diversifying, but you have the depreciation. And I'm not a tax guy, but one of the things is when you start making, a decent chunk of money, whether it's from your real estate or whatever. I'm always looking for like, how do you depreciate? How do you use depreciation to pay less in taxes? And not by doing it illegally, not by doing like being by the book, but doing what's within the tax code, right? Is doing that. So that's one of the other things. And then the other component is I want to continue to add streams of cash flow, revenue streams, and let's call them semi-passive because nothing's truly passive. So what my game plan is for everybody that knows, for anyone that knows me or that wants to know, when maybe you don't care, and I don't mind if you don't care, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video, but my game plan is that I make as much money as possible from digital, continue to build that empire. Okay. And then I'm taking the excess cash and I'm going to keep building out my my physical real estate portfolio, specifically with commercial properties. And my goal is I want to buy $100 million worth of commercial real estate property or any kind of physical real estate property and get those properties under my name, have the tenants pay them off, right? Because it's on a note, it's on a mortgage, because I'm not going to be paying these all in cash. I'm going to do the 20% down or whatever. And the crazy part is I had somebody said this the other day and it just clicked. If I buy $100 million worth of physical real estate and I put them on 20-year loans or 30-year loans, right? In 20 or 30 years, without me doing anything extra other than putting these deals under my name and having the tenants pay them off, I'm going to have a net worth of $100 million. Okay. Now, let's say we're in the middle of a deal and we're on a little downturn. Maybe those properties are worth less, but eventually, as we've always seen, real estate does come back up and maybe it's worth more. Maybe we're in this really good spot in 20, 30 years and that $100 million of property I bought is now worth $200 million or $300 million or $150 million. But I clicked with me a couple months ago. I'm like, if I want to have $100 million net worth, it's very simple. Go and buy $100 million worth of real estate. Go put those notes in your name and have the tenants pay them off, and you have $100 million net worth. So the challenge is, for most people, how do you get the financing to parlay that cash into these physical properties? And so that's why I'm talking about this on this channel, is I'm using digital real estate because it's the quickest, cheapest, most scalable business model I have found on the internet, and it's freaking awesome. And I'm using that vehicle to make as much cash as possible to then parlay into the commercial and the residential, all things physical, to build $100 million plus net worth. That's my formula. That's my game plan, all made possible through digital real estate.